You're scrolling, drifting through the endless static of the algorithm, waiting for the signal to cut through the noise. Consider, if you will, that you just found the frequency. You've just stepped off the timeline of the everyday, into the space where the forgotten history and the hidden truths finally touch down. There's the story you know, and then there's the airspace we're about to enter. Check your coordinates, because you're heading towards the landing point. Today's story: the stand-up. He was born into royalty, not the kind with a crown and a castle and a velvet robe, mind you, but spiritual royalty. For generations, his ancestors had been revered leaders, mystics, and teachers in Eastern Europe. And young Abraham, well, he was expected to follow quietly in their footsteps. He was, by all accounts, a man of the books. A gentle soul who felt most at home surrounded by dusty tombs, ancient parchments, and the quiet hum of the study hall. He studied in Berlin, a brilliant young mind, soaking up philosophy and theology, preparing for a life of quiet contemplation. But then, in the year 1938, the world was going mad. By the grace of a last-minute visa, Abraham escaped the gathering storm. He fled to London and eventually found safe harbor in the United States. But he left his heart and his family behind. His mother, his sister, they would not survive the terrifying darkness that soon swallowed Europe. Safe in America, Abraham did what was expected of a grieving scholar. He retreated to academia. He became a professor at a seminary in New York City. He wrote books, beautiful, profound books about faith, about the sanctity of the Sabbath, and about the ancient prophets who had the courage to speak the truth to power. He was a man of the mind, a man of the soul. He spent his days exploring the heavens from the safety of his library chair. But as the 1960s dawned, a different kind of darkness became visible right outside his American window. A darkness of segregation, of inequality, of violence against his fellow man. Now, Abraham could have stayed in his comfortable office. He had seen enough hatred and bloodshed for one lifetime. Nobody would have blamed the aging immigrant for simply praying for peace from the safety of his sanctuary. He was, after all, just a scholar. But Abraham remembered those ancient prophets he wrote so eloquently about. He realized that sometimes thoughts and quiet prayers are simply not enough. Sometimes faith demands action. So in 1965, the quiet scholar from Warsaw packed a bag. He traveled to Selma, Alabama. There he stepped out of the library and onto the scorched asphalt. He stood shoulder to shoulder with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and linked arms. With his wild sea of white hair and flowing beard, he looked like one of those very prophets he had studied, marching straight into the face of tear gas and billy clubs. When he finally returned home to New York, exhausted and covered in southern dust, a friend asked him if he had found time to pray amidst the chaos and the danger of the march. Abraham simply smiled, took his head, and said, "I felt my legs were praying." The man who lost almost everything to the worst hatred of the 20th century spent the rest of his life fighting the same hatred in his adopted home. Not just with a brilliant mind, but with his feet. You may know him as one of the most influential theologians of the modern era. But now you know the quiet scholar who became a marching soldier for civil rights. He is Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel. And whether you realize it or not, this is The Landing Point. Thank you for watching today, The Landing Point. Our stories come out Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, so you can always catch our latest story. I'd like to thank our sponsor, Roadrunner Real Estate. They're a full-service real estate company that can help you with both your real estate, residential and commercial needs, both buying and selling and leasing for the commercial side. If you haven't done so already, please go out to our YouTube page and subscribe so you can get our latest stories that come out. If you want our latest updates, please go to our Facebook page and follow and like that. And then for those of you that enjoy just listening to stories when you're out on the drive, we do have our podcast too that you can hear the same stories. Thank you for listening to today's story, and we'll catch you next time.